Hey everyone, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I kind of incorporated this probably like 1 or 2 times back in like 2024. It's very sporadic just because my moods change when it comes to books. A moment or a phase I go through of I want to read a bunch of books and then it dies down and then I don't pick it back up until like maybe time next year. I will basically probably get back into reading again and I'll maybe make a video about it then as well. But right now I just kind of wanted to go over all of the books in total that I have read. So just wanted to do this video before I decide to sell these or give them away, because I don't have the need or the desire or the want to have a bookshelf. Like, that's just not me. Maybe sometime in the future that'll change, but as of right now, I don't see the reasoning to keep these if I've already read them. I will kind of scoot to the side. Scoochie, as Angelica says, but I'm not Angelica, I am Violetta. The first book I read is called Trust Me by Hank Felipe Ryan. This one, the back says, can you spot the liar? An accused killer insists she's innocent of a heinous murder. A grieving journalist surfaces from the wreckage of her shattered life. Their unlikely alliance leads to a dangerous cat and mouse game that will leave you breathless. Trust Me is the chilling novel of psychological suspense and manipulation that award-winning author and renowned investigative reporter Hank Felipe Ryan was born to write. This one to me was okay. Off the top of my head, I want to say that the main character in here, I believe her name is Quinn. Oh, and then the investigative journalist that is mentioned in the back, her name is Quinn. She's picking back up journaling after losing her husband and her kid. She's investigating the trial of Ashlyn, who was accused of killing her kid, or what happened to her kid. It's a very much like Casey Anthony sort of case that I think reminds me of this. The book was good. First time reading from Hank. It was a decent book. I definitely like the whole true crime aspect. I definitely like having that psychological suspense. I definitely enjoy the murder mystery. The like, did she do it? Did she not? Kind of has you thinking maybe she did, maybe she didn't. So I don't know if I completely remember the ending. I want to say I do. Off the top of my head, just by remembering, I'm not going to spill anything, but I'm just going to say, based on the ending alone, I'm just like, yep, that's very much Casey Anthony, like that is to a tease. Next book is Crooked River by Valerie Geary. Again, most of these authors are my first time reading a book from any of them, so I'm not going to repeat myself. This book was really good. It takes a long while to get into it. It is a very long synopsis, so I'm just going to put it on the screen, so if you want to read it. Okay, so basically it's about 2 sisters who are grieving the sudden death of their mother, and then there's a young woman that is found dead in the river called Crooked River, and the police arrest their father because he is a very unusual type of guy. He's a very like woodsy, foresty, lumberjack type of father. He doesn't really stick to the normal rules of the law or life in general. It's he likes living out there, so you know you're gonna automatically, like, I guess not always assume, but you're gonna kind of have that back in your mind, like, you know, at least with the police, they're thinking, well, because he lives out here, he's close, he must have murdered the woman. The daughter's like, I know my father, I know he didn't kill her, so she goes off on this whole, like, her own, like, journey to prove that her father is innocent, and along the way, I'm not going to spoil it, but just along the way, she meets this interesting family, and that's, I think, where it picks up, and it really builds, and you're really like, what in the actual, like, what is going on? So it's a good book. It just takes a long while to get into it. I want to say like maybe halfway or like majority have to like really like stick around for the book, because that's what I didn't like about it, but it was good writing, good storyline, plot, characters, and it was, you know, it was a good book. Next up is The Dead Girl in 2A by Carter Wilson. This one is a real mind trickery type of book. Basically, you have a guy going on a trip, or I think he was invited somewhere, so he's on a plane, and that's kind of where it takes off. Jake, he kind of feels like he knows this woman next to him. Her name is Clara, but they didn't meet, or he doesn't feel like they had met like in high school or anything like that. Learns that Clara is actually on the plane because she wants to go kill herself. So you kind of have both points of view. You have Jake and you have Clara, and you go back and forth. It isn't also until the end of this one, or like towards the end, like last, I guess, a section of it, that you really find out how these two sort of know each other. It just starts to get extremely interesting. It really messes with your brain. It really has you thinking like, this is absolutely crazy? Is this something that could actually happen in real life? Next one is The Midnight Witness by Sarah Bladel. I talk about this in the old video from back in 2024. This one has me enticed because of the whole cover. I mentioned that it reminds me of an old Netflix series back in like 2014, 2016 time frame. It was called The Killing. Basically about that they find this young woman who's been strangled. Detective in this book, her name is Detective Rick. She's put on the case of the young girl. She's trying to solve who killed her. And then she's got a best friend who's a journalist. Her name is Camila. And, you know, she's kind of telling her some details of the case because she's, you know, obviously a journalist. She wants to report to the public and kind of give her own story until both of them kind of get intertwined in their own cases, because eventually journalist Camila, I think it's her boss, or it's like someone she worked with, he ends up getting killed too. So now she's whole entangled in her own type of like case. It sounds kind of boring, but it's actually a pretty interesting book. I think that this book is it's a pretty good book. It's just the case about the young woman kind of gets put on the back burner once we learn about the journalist's murder. And then you sort of at the very end, it's just kind of like, oh, hey, here's the finishing of the young woman. It was, you know, whatever happened all along. But the part about the journalist is actually really good. Again, this one kind of takes some time. When you learn about the young woman, it gets interesting, and then it kind of falls off, and then you learn about the the journalist murder, and that's when it starts to get like, you're kind of getting a little hooked, and then you get hooked, and then you're like, okay. Next one is The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This one was also a very much like, what the heck type of book. Basically, this one says, when you read this book, you'll make many assumptions. You will assume you're reading about a jealous ex-wife. You will assume she was obsessed with her replacement, a beautiful younger woman who was about to marry the man they both love. You will assume you know the anatomy of this tangled love triangle. Assume nothing. Twisted and deliciously chilling, The Wife Between Us deftly explores the hidden complexities of marriage and the dangerous truths we ignore. In the name of love, read between the lines. This one was a good book. Again, this one, I think it needed some time to pick up. You definitely needed to, I guess, to learn the backstory, I guess, to learn some of the patterns of these characters. That there was a nice looking guy, and he had a younger woman who was his new wife that he was going to marry, and then he had his ex-wife. This one is a very much psychological, messes with your head. This one is in 3 parts. The first part is very slow, very like meaty. You're just kind of learning the patterns of the people, the characters, kind of learning the story, kind of learning, you know, gaining your own sort of thoughts about it. Then in part 2 is whenever it starts to pick up a little bit. And then I think in part 3 is where, again, it shines, because you're kind of like, what the heck? Like, I was thinking this way, but it's this way and that way. So like, it's very good. And then there's actually like a little plot twist that I'm like, I was not expecting that. Next one is called Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. I don't know how to say her last name. This one I think was a newer release and a newer book to me. This one was really good too. Like, this one I think had me hooked from the very beginning. This one is about a woman who's missing. Her name is Shelby Tebow. She's the first to go missing, and then Meredith Dickey and her 6-year-old daughter Delilah. Delilah vanishes just blocks away from where Shelby was last seen, striking fear into their once peaceful community. After an elusive search that yields more questions than answers, the case eventually goes cold. Now, 11 years later, Delilah shockingly returns. Everyone wants to know what happened to her, but no one is prepared for what they'll find, and some people will stop at nothing to keep the truth buried. The ending is what really shocked me the most, and I was literally sitting there after I read it, like, my mouth open. I just dropped, and I was like, oh, that's how that happened. We're ending this. Writing on this is a little weird. There's very much a lot of choppy sentences, which if you can get over, it's a really good book. You have this nice, like, little peaceful, tight-knit community, but they're all like, the community is shaken a little bit from, you know, having 2 cases so close to each other, so close, of going missing, and so they're trying to, you know, figure out what happened to Shelby, and then they're trying to figure out Delilah's story. So it's a multiple point of view book, which I think is necessary for these type of, at least for in this situation of the cases. But yeah, definitely there is just, it's so good. Next one is called Black Eyed Susans by Julia Heberlin. This is a book that I've had sitting in my closet for a couple of years. Picked it up, tried to read it, and then I put it down and I was like, I'm not gonna read it. And then I forced myself. I said, you know what? Read it. What if it's a good book? And it was. I fooled myself. It's actually a good book. It's about this girl. Her name is Tessa Cartwright. At 16, she was found buried alive in a field of flowering black-eyed Susans. So the cover art is supposed to be Tessa Cartwright. and then now she's an adult with her own teenager, and you know, she's having memories, and she's carrying ghosts and guilt, and having flashbacks from back then, thinking, did I make up the story? Is the story true? I need to go and kind of like refresh my memory type of thing after all of this time. So then she enlists the help of forensic scientists and a death penalty attorney, because as the execution nears of the guy that she had accused, his death date is nearing soon. An utterly original psychological thriller. It'll make you think about the death penalty, the heroes who identify the missing, and the tricks memory can play. And this one, as well, was so good. Definitely took a little bit of, you know, picking up to do. I want to say probably about like around the 100-page mark is when it starts to pick up. Once she sort of goes further into the investigative with the scientist and the attorney, you really learn a lot of like scientifical, how forensic scientists kind of study the human bones and how they identify, you know, all of that. I think that's so fascinating, and this definitely like touches on some of those subjects. Definitely a really good read. This definitely is worth. I'm definitely proud of myself for picking this back up and reading. The ending again will have you like, yes, and also like, wow. Next book is The Liar's Paradox by Taylor Stevens. This is a Jack and Jill thriller, meaning it's about I think a brother and sister, or they're twins. They come from a very like, their mother is, I think, a CIA agent. So all of their life they have moved continuously. They have never had a permanent home. They've never felt settled. They've always been on high alert. They've always taken after their mother's CIA training, and you know, always trying to spot danger, always trying to be ahead of it. Whenever you're in public, like always be, you know, keep those eyes in front and back and all around type of thing. Liked that kind of aspect. This is, I think, also based in Texas, which was a fun little find to learn about. This book was okay. This one was one of the only books in my entire like finished reading collection that I like sped through, because it wasn't really like increasingly interesting. Like, it was cool to learn that their mom's a CIA agent. It's cool that they were learning, you know, trying to evade danger all the time. But I feel like, I don't know, just there was something about this I just wasn't fully connecting with. I just wasn't fully interested in. The ending was okay. The storyline was okay. Overall, it was decent. I mean, if that entices you to some point, check it out. But for me, this was a very, like, when I was done with it, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, good. The second to last book that I read is The Summer Dragon by Todd Lockwood. This says it's the first book of the Evertide, but to my knowledge, I don't think the second book has ever been released, or it's like still in production, or he's writing, I don't know, something like that. This is my first book in a long time that's based off of like mythical, like not sort of like detective, true crime, like real life sort of situations. This is more of like with dragons, with fake worlds, with political aspect to it. I think the last time I read anything like that was Twilight, and that one was forever ago. So this was kind of like my reintroduction into that whole fantasy, mystical sort of aspect of books. This one was so good. I really enjoyed this, and I don't enjoy this type of genre or content of books to begin with, or movies or anything like that, but surprisingly I was hooked on this one. This one definitely took a little bit as well to kind of pick up and get into, but once you get into it, you're just like, what happens next? Like, what in the heck? Basically, you have this girl, Maya. Her and her family raises dragons for a political war machine. As she comes of age, she wants to raise her own dragon, but it says the war goes badly and the needs of the dragonry dash her hopes. Her peaceful life is shattered when the Summer Dragon, one of the rare and mythical high dragons, makes an appearance in her quiet valley. The Summer Dragon is an omen of change, but no one knows for certain what kind of change he augurs. Political factions vie to control the implied message, each to further their own agendas. The entire thing about raising dragons for this, you know, as a family, and then there's like other worlds, so they have to supply dragons for them, and then the whole like war is just like messes up everyone's plans, and they all have to like try and fix and re-plan out what they're trying to do. Her hopes of having a dragon is kind of shot down from that, but it picks up towards the middle when she tries to go on this like discovery of like these abandoned like ruins type of thing, and she ends up in a cave, and that's where it really gets interesting. Like, it picks up, it gets the storyline, it's like so good you can't put it down. It's just an overall like really, really good book. The last book is called The New Neighbors by Simon Lelick. This one is about, it's based in London. Londoners Jack and Sid, they found their dream home. Everything is not exactly what they hoped for when they move in, but Jack makes a disturbing discovery in the attic, and Sid begins to wonder about the girl next door, and they keep each other in the dark, a mistake because someone has just been killed outside their back door, and now the police are watching them. This is their chance to prove they're innocent or to get away with murder. This one was an okay book. I definitely like the kind of keeping each other in the dark, because it's like, you're kind of like watching a movie, so you're kind of like, oh, I know what this woman knows, I know what this man knows, but inside the movie, they don't know what's going on. Jack makes the discovery about some box in the attic of, I guess, some family or some kid that used to live there, and then Sid learns about the girl next door because supposedly that girl is being abused by her father, so she wants to save her, and so she kind of gets involved. And then the end is when you learn the whole narrative, the whole situation about the little girl, and just how far Sid is willing to go. I'm not going to spoil it. You can make your own little inference there, but it was decent. The ending, I was like, I don't know if I really liked it. I was like, I wish we had gotten maybe just a little bit more in certain areas of the book, but it was good. I'm glad that I read this because the cover art always intrigued me, and I finally just bit the bullet and I said, just read it. So that was all of the books I read, mini reviews. Let me know, have you read any of these books? Let me know, do you like something like this? Should I maybe do this like once every couple of months, or like when I read enough books? Anything and everything, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to talk with you there, and as always, have an awesome rest of your day and or week, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye, guys.